Sukla Chandra. By profession, I'm a chemical engineer and been in this profession for almost 30 years now. So when I look back and graduated from a college in Kolkata, Jadavpur University, that was a long time back. I chose chemical engineering because I was very passionate about chemistry all the time. And funnily, a lot of times people say that, you don't know what you want to do when you grow up. I was very sure since I was like 6 years old that I wanted to be an engineer. So there was no option B for me. So I was so focused on it that, I wanted to work on engineering. And that time I had absolutely no idea what it actually takes. But that's where my passion was since I was a child. So I did my engineering and then joined a couple of companies in India after graduation. I actually at that time worked in a water treatment companies, and believe me or not, so that time you will not see many women in this field. So I used to be an application engineer. So I would go to factories and stay there and start water treatment programs. And it was tough, but it was so challenging. And the best part of it was that I used to travel to interior, all across India actually. And I had full support from my family because they never said that, oh, don't go there, it's not safe, nothing like that. They fully supported me. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I realized that I really wanted to have a higher degree, and so I went to US. I did my master's from US and then I worked there for some more time. But then, I felt like when I had a family, I had my daughter, I wanted to come back to India. And that's actually when the GE opened a technology center in Bangalore. And when I came and saw the center, I was completely blown away. I never could imagine the center like this could exist in India in 2000. So that's when I came back from US and joined GE as a research engineer and worked in GE Plastics. Since then, I've been with the GE Technology Center for the last 20 years. Several of GE business, as you know, GE is a conglomerate, has several different businesses. So I've been with GE Plastics. I've been with a corporate R&D. I've worked in intellectual property. I've been the site leader for the R&D group in Bangalore for a number of years. Very exciting because GE as a conglomerate does research in various areas, whether it's jet engine, whether it's power, medical devices, digital technology, name it all, and it happens in Bangalore. So it was very enriching. And then I moved to a product role in GE Power. And that's when I actually worked on developing a product which gives affordable energy to people who do not have energy access. And that's actually 1 billion people across the globe. So that's what I did for a few years. And then currently my role is taking care of GE's technology transfer and licensing activities of various types of technology and assets we have. And I have teams in China, Korea, so I do that. And I'm also the CTO for the organization. So the investment on new technology, I supervise. So it's been a very enriching and very exciting journey so far. Many different roles, many different challenges, but loved every moment of it. So one thing, my biggest learning is if you follow the passion and you really are excited to do something, it doesn't matter how difficult it is going to be, you're going to make it happen. So first of all, when I started my journey in engineering, I chose a field which was not very common for women engineers to enter, which is application and service engineering, because you really have to travel to every corner of India. And but I loved it because for 2 months I'll be a fertilizer company, then next 2 months I'll be in a petrochemical manufacturing side, then I'll be in a steel making facility. So the learning was so huge. And my goal was that in the first few years, and that's my learning, the first few years of your career, you should only focus on learning, nothing else. How much you're learning, how fast you're learning. Of course, you have to contribute to the company or corporate or academia, wherever you're working. You definitely have to contribute. But learning is so very important, because what we learn in our curriculum in college is absolutely gives us the basics. But once you start working hands-on in the field, that's when actually you start learning so much more. So, first learning is that, to grab every opportunity to learn as much as you can. follow your passion, even though it looked very, very daunting at that point in time. But quickly I realized that, I'll give you an example. I used to visit factories, which is, manufacturing fertilizer, and they have not seen a woman who would come and see their fertilizer units and stay overnight, because our programs were running in the water treatment plant. So I needed to be there. And they had a law that time that they will not allow a woman to enter the factory after 6 o'clock in the evening. So I actually had to approach the leadership of the factory and say that, you know what, I need to enter the factory even after 6 o'clock because my program is running and I need to take care of it. And I had so much support from the higher leadership to make that happen when they saw that it was essential. It was amazing, actually. So I think with all that, I realized that I'm in the right field. I'm doing something which really matters, and I'm enjoying it. So, and I'm learning a lot. So those were my initial learning. And as I grew in my career, went to US, worked there for some times, then came back to India, had several leadership roles in GE. A few things will never change, whether you are in US, whether you're in India, or whether anywhere you're working, as a professional. And that is, a couple of things. One is never stop learning, and I have talked about it before also. And the second is, as you grow as a leader, you need to be able to you need to be very comfortable with a very uncomfortable feeling in your stomach every day. So if you keep doing the same thing, you get very, very comfortable. It becomes routine. But I am a person who actually needs to get excited with doing new things. So whenever I get that feeling in me, I need to do something which is very challenging, very different. And when you start doing it, you'll get a very, very uncomfortable feeling in your stomach because you don't know everything. You have to go back to the drawing board. You need to have a great team working with you. You need to have buy-in. You need to have influencing people. You need to have funding to, make sure that your idea is successful. You need to find customers. So there are so many different things you need to do, and that makes you feel very uncomfortable. And to me, that is the key. You can't be too comfortable all the time. So those were the two things, and humility and transparency. I mean, if as you grow in your career and if you lose your humility, then to me, that's not something you should do. So humility, transparency, learning, all of that has helped me so much in my career. I think this has been an unprecedented year. I mean, last February, I just came back from US. I went for a meeting, and then boom, everything changed. All of a sudden, there was a lockdown. We started working from home. So, the way we used to think before March this year and the way we are thinking now is so different. So a few things I think which is very, very important and which has changed so much. So one thing is we have always been, very, very clear that, when you have a meeting, when you have a customer, you need to be there, you need to meet people face to face to connect with people. And that used to be a big thing. I know in this virtual world and digital world with the video conferencing and all of that, things have improved so much, but still there was a huge emphasis on connectivity through face-to-face meeting. And when this all started happening, I was really, really, skeptical how all this is going to work out in the long term, because I'm not seeing anybody. We are not able to meet our customers face-to-face. I'm not meeting my team. How all that is going to work. And like a magic, I think in the last few months, things have been difficult, but I see the connectivity across the globe, across professionals, different age group, different diverse background. They have connected so well. And I think one thing which is a huge learning from all this is a time of crisis, people just come together and make this work. So I see the way of connecting with people is going to be different forever. So when we go back to our normal world, which I would like to think it's going to happen very soon with the vaccines coming up, I do think that some research is going to happen how people are going to plan their office space, how they're going to work together as a team globally, how diverse team come together, and we have seen brainstorming sessions happening virtually beautifully. There is the so I think that is a huge change I see, definitely. And then another thing which I see in a trend, which is happening globally, is that we always knew that digital technology is the key. I mean, I work in an industrial company. We call it a digital industrial company because although we manufacture huge machines like jet engines and gas turbines, etc., or medical devices, digital is such a core part of what we do and how our machines actually operate efficiently. But I think the last 9 months, it's very clear that whether you are in industrial space, whether you're in entertainment space, whether it doesn't matter which sphere of profession you are in, digital is going to play a huge role in it. So even though my background is not digital, even though many people in the world are not from that background, to understand the basics and educate yourself and actually use and harness the power of digital in whatever you do, it's going to be so important. So these are the two things I think on the technical side I see. On the personal side, I think people have started appreciating family time much more. People have come together as families. I see my friends, my colleagues across the globe, they have started appreciating that time so much more because of this crisis. So these are the trend I see which is happening globally. I don't want to, leader can be from any sphere of activity. So there are two people who have really influenced me greatly, who are women, and they have shaped my life. So one is my teacher in school, and she used to teach me geography, and I was in 9th and 10th standard. I'll never forget her because she taught me the meaning of excelling. So I used to be always good in studies, but I used to get into so many different things, to do different things. And she was the one who actually sat with me one day and said, what do you want to do in life? And had a very meaningful conversation with me, saying that you're good at many things, but what excelling means to you. Excelling is not getting 80% in a exam. That's not something which explains that. So what do you mean by that? And then she started discussing, and never ever in my life anybody else has done that. So I started realizing that, okay, I need to think this through. I need to think about what I want to do. What are the steps I need to take? What does it mean to be really good at something, deep at something? So I think and she remained my mentor throughout my school life and beyond that, and I cherish every moment I spent with her. So that's one person, and leader doesn't have to be in corporate. So she was one person who changed my life completely. And I think there are two more people in my life who actually have helped me. One is my mom and one is my sister. I think whatever I wanted, and I was never a very easy child to handle, but because I always wanted to do something which is different. And never ever in my life I heard from my mom or even my parents saying that you cannot do this. So every time I wanted to do something different, and I have had some very, very tough time in my life, even personally, every time they stood up and said, you go do whatever you want to do, we are there for you. And that support system sometimes come from a leader in corporate, but to me it came from my personal sphere of life. So those are the two instances I can think about that women actually made sure that I do whatever I want to do and helped me reach there. Second is digital savviness. As I said, a future leader has to be, constantly upgrading themselves to be in the, to understand what technology can do and use them and leverage them constantly. So as a leader, learning as you go constantly, because things are changing so fast. Of course, the fundamentals of mechanical design and chemistry doesn't change, but going forward, the technologies the next generation of leaders are going to be working on, it's going to change so fast that they have to really upgrade their skills at a very regular interval. And the third thing which I'm seeing a trend is that in future, everybody, and now also I feel it's the same, is everybody is going to be a leader, in the sense like, more and more people are recognized and appreciated as an individual contributor for your own skills, what you bring to the table. It's becoming more and more important. So upgrading your skills, managing a very, very diverse and open team environment, that is very going to be a key. And then third thing is upgrading yourself on digital technology. That's definitely something you should work on. So these are the few things I think the future leaders, and of course when I look at the future generation, and I have a daughter who's 22, I see that all the time at home. They are so much more smarter than us. They are all sorted. They have a purpose, and if they are going to be our workforce for tomorrow, you need to think like them. To get them excited to be part of your journey as a leader. So that's all I have right now in my mind when I think about the future leaders.